to Cozy Girly Corner, or welcome if you're new here. My name is America. I'm so happy that you clicked on this video. So if you guys remember a few videos back last year, I wore this sweater a lot and I've gotten a few questions about it. So I thought I'd make another one and walk you guys through how I made it. Before we get into this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I will go over what yarn I'm using, what hook size I'm using, and just other minor details that go into making the sweater. But overall, it is just a super simple granny square sweater, 2 giant granny square panels stitched together, and then you continue the granny stitch down the sleeve. So it is very simple to make, and I'm not very good at explaining, so I'm not going to call this a tutorial, but I am going to show you guys how I make it. And if you have any questions, things that you didn't quite understand, just leave them down in the comments and I will try my best to explain. But then if someone else knows what I did and knows a better way to explain it, please help each other out in the comments. But again, it's very super simple. All you need to know is how to make a granny square and do the granny square stitch. So if you know how to do that, you'll know how to make this sweater. Some key differences in this sweater is, well, first of all, the color. When I made this one, it was a total accident, like for lack of a better word. It was a total accident. I only had one cake of this Caron Halo Colorama skein or whatever. I only had one of the blue and I ran out and I started using a different color. So that's why it looks a little bit more complex than it is. It's just 2 different colors. So it's like 2-toned basically. And so all this like white and pink that you see, it's all from one cake, and then all the blue is from another cake. So some of the differences are, in this one, I made the squares about 2 rows bigger than this one. So if you can see down here, I added a couple rows at the bottom in a different color. I didn't do that in this one because I made it long enough to begin with. So I skipped that. I also did not incorporate this border in like an accent color or my secondary color because I just really liked the way that this one flowed with the way that the colors were. So I didn't want to do that on this one, but I do show you how I basically did it. With spoiler alert, it's just a single crochet stitch on the bottom and the top with your secondary color. So we're going to get into what kind of yarn and how many you might need depending on your size. Just for reference, I'm pretty much extra small in everything. Sometimes extra small is too big on me, so I'm very small. This is made for my size, obviously, so depending on that, you might need more yarn than I do, but I have a feeling everyone's going to need about 2 to 3 cakes, unless you want like a really oversized look, but that's all depending on how you make your own sweater, how you want to make your own sweater. All right, so let's get into the materials that we'll need and the process of how to make this sweater. here are the 2 completed panels. I did 15 rows for both panels, and that's the size that I like. You're probably gonna need a lot more if you want like a baggier look. I would say that this would probably fit an extra small, so depending on that, you're probably gonna need a lot more rows in this, but this worked up super quick and I'm really happy with it. It's a really easy project, you guys. So first I measured how much space I want for my arm to fit in here comfortably. So I finished putting the stitch markers where I want to stitch these 2 pieces together. Here's kind of like an example of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be stitching the top for making space for the neck, and then we're going to be stitching the bottom all the way up to the sleeve. So the way that I did this, like here, is I first stitched the side pieces, like the pieces that are going to go on your side. I first stitched that together. I just did slip stitches and then I fastened off. And then I came up here and I stitched these 2 pieces together. So if you can tell, my hole that I'm leaving for the neck is massive. I want it to be kind of like boat neck. I want to be able to have this like off the shoulder. That is why I'm leaving such a huge space. This is exactly how I did my last sweater. So if you like how the last sweater looked, this is how much space you have to leave. I stitched I'm only stitching together these 3 double crochets and then the 2 turning chains for a total of 5 slip stitches there. And then I immediately move into starting the granny squares, or I'm sorry, starting the granny stitch, just going around and around as you normally would. And I do like turn my work each time. So I'll like at the end of each row, I will attach it together and then turn my work. So that's how big the hole is going to be for the arm. This is how big the hole is going to be for the neck. So again, here's an example of what I'm talking about. This is how you will start to make the sleeve, just adding some granny stitches going down and around. And this is probably the easiest part because each round goes by pretty fast. So here's an example of what I was saying about how when you're making the sleeve, you're gonna turn your work. So this is the sleeve right now that I'm working on. I just got to the end of the row, and I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch like you would a normal granny square when you're done. Slip stitch together, and I do chain 2, and then you turn your work. So now we're working the other way. I know some people do their granny squares in the round. I turn my work every time I do a granny square. So that is how I'm doing this project. If you want to do it a different way, go ahead, it's your project. You can do whatever you want. I don't know how that would work, but I do turn my work every time. So I just wanted to show you guys what that looks like. So now I have 3 right here, and I'm working into the next row. Okay, so I want to explain what I've done so far. This is what I have right now. It is so cute. I love how on the camera you can see the ombre effect even more. So at the top of the sweater, I sectioned off where I was going to attach it together to start the sleeve. And if you can tell, it's a very small amount that you're going to have to attach together. It's just 3 double crochets, and then I also do the 2 chains for like the turning row. So I attach a total of like 5 chains. Basically, you can do more or less. I just like that open neck look, and that's exactly how my other sweater is done as well. So last time that I made the other sweater, I didn't have enough of one roll of one cake of the yarn, and that's why it has multiple colors in it. This time I bought 2 cakes of this halo yarn, and I'm not sure where it's going yet. I feel like anybody else will end up using at least 1.5 skeins of these. I'm a very small person, and I still needed more than 1, so I would just buy 2 no matter what, and you can always like return the other one if you don't end up using it. But we'll see how far this goes. I was hoping that we would get some blue in the sleeve, but there's still quite a bit of pink in there, so I'm just gonna keep working on the sleeve and see if we need to like cut off some of the yarn and then start with the blue, because I do want to have that 2-tone color thing going on like I did in my previous sweater. So we'll see, and then we'll still have enough blue to do some single stitches or single crochets around the top, and then a couple more at the bottom. I did try this on already, and it's fitting really well. I actually made this 2 rows larger than my last sweater, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going down the sleeve. It's very, very simple, very easy. I'm probably not explaining it the best, but it's just 2 squares stitched together with some sleeves. That's all that this project is. You know, the only thing is leave enough space for your arm. Okay, let's get to crocheting this. I've been working on the sleeve, and I'm not even halfway done. And so it looks like we will get that blue in there after all. So I'm really happy about that. We finally hit the color blue, and I don't know if you guys can tell, like as it's fading right here, this color looks kind of like a lilac color, which I was not expecting to get in this, but it makes sense because it's pink fading into like a light blue. It looks a little bit gray and a little bit like lilac. It was just such a pretty surprise when I was crocheting and I got to this fading color. I was like, oh, how cute.
I know you can't really tell on here. Maybe when I wear it later and take pictures with it, it'll be more noticeable. But yeah, we're just finishing up the sleeve still. It's coming along. This is such a easy and quick project, you guys. I am almost finished with this sweater. I already finished one sleeve last night and I started working on the other sleeve. So I'm going to see how much I can get done today. It's currently Friday, so I don't know if I'll have that much time, but I'm hoping to be able to finish this by Monday. On this sweater, you can see I added rows at the bottom, and that was because I initially didn't make the first granny square big enough. But this time I feel like it's actually long enough, so I don't know if I'm going to do this at the bottom. I also think that in the new sweater, the sleeves are a little bit longer than this because when I was making this one, I wanted to wear it already and I just wanted to finish it, and so I made the sleeves a little bit on the shorter side. So I think the newer one will have longer sleeves than this. I'm also debating if I want to add this little accent to the top like I did on this one. If I want to do that again on my other sweater. We'll just have to see. I feel like I've been crocheting forever and I haven't gotten anywhere. This is how much of the sleeve I have right now. Maybe I'm just tired. And probably I have not even been crocheting that long. I'm gonna have a little break and then I'll continue working on this tonight. Okay, so I have reached the end of the last row and I chained one and turned my work, and this is how I'm finishing off every sleeve. I'm just doing one row of single crochets all the way around to kind of give it a nice clean look at the bottom. And once I get all the way around, I'm going to also add like an increase basically at the end, just so it doesn't fold in. It'll kind of like stay out like this. So I'm gonna do that and come back. Okay friends, I just fastened off on the sleeve. We are almost done. So basically what I did on my last sweater is I used my secondary color to do single crochets around the neck and then also around the bottom. However, on this one, I really like the way it is right now. I don't really feel like putting blue up here. So I think what I'm going to do is weave these ends in really nice and tight right here as much as I can, so nothing gets undone. And I'm just going to leave it as is because I don't have any more of this pink color. Otherwise I would have done single crochets around, but I'm just going to leave it like this. I really like the color combination right now how it is. So I'm going to weave in these ends and then try it on.
guys enjoyed that, and I hope it made sense. Again, if you didn't understand something, if I didn't explain something correctly, or if I skipped over something that you wanted a little bit more clarification on, leave it down in the comments and I'll get back to you on that. And then if someone else knows the answer to that person's question, go ahead and respond to them as well, because sometimes we need someone else saying it in a different way. You know, like all our brains kind of process information differently. But yeah, I think that was super simple, super quick. I love it. I'm so excited to wear this, and it's still chilly enough to wear it, so I'm happy about that. All right, friends, that's it for this week's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, follow me on my other socials, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!